Good morning, it's Matthew here, as I always say on my videos. First things first, starting today is the National Apprenticeship Week, where all of you can learn more about apprenticeships nationwide. There's a lot of websites that I've posted last night, but there's also a lot of resources available to you as well. Apprenticeships are a fantastic opportunity, saving you a lot of money, and certainly if you're more of a practical learner. Okay, so that's something to think about. National Apprenticeship Week starts today and ends on Sunday this week, so that's the first thing. Second thing, I just wanted to let you know something. Given some reflection I did yesterday, so I always do a Sunday reflection, a bit like Brendan Bouchard. I have a new ebook that I'm designing at the moment. I wanted to share with you the acronym and stuff like that, and give you something to think about today, Manifestation Monday, and something to think about going forwards. Using Monday as a great start of the week and a time to anchor yourself and really get things going. Okay, so it's called Dreamers. Let's go with it now. So D stands for discipline. So of course, whenever you're manifesting anything or wanting to manifest anything, then it's really important that you have discipline, and certainly from visualizing it, feeling it, and all that sort of thing, and obviously thinking about it too all the time. It's really important that you have the discipline as well to take the action as well, because it's like people think that manifestation is just about you thinking it comes true, and it just doesn't. There's a lot more to it than that. You have to feel into it. You have to almost begin with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey once said. You've got to almost get your mind into a place where your body feels the results already, and you're living in that feeling already as if it's already happened. And almost work backwards, okay? And it has to be a consistent thing. So discipline is very, very important, okay? Being responsible or taking ownership of your goals, not blaming anybody, regular reflecting on them, and adjusting them as necessary, a bit like a sail, so that you're going in the right direction, and being okay with sometimes it going wrong, so the failure, making mistakes, and reframing that a little bit. So taking that responsibility is really, really important. Then we get to E, energy management. Energy comes from the way you think. Energy comes from making sure that you are staying active. Energy comes from the people that you spend time with, okay? They normally influence that a little bit. But again, you can generate energy yourself. Your sleep, your nutrition, the way you think, all those sort of things are really, really important, okay? And standing guard to that. And again, using that discipline from before to ensure that you have healthy boundaries in place for yourself, okay? So that's really important. Energy management is a massive one. It really is. It's a bit like nutrition. It's the priority. You have to make sure that you are, it's one thing you're doing all the time. So it's really, really important to make sure that you are looking after that element of your life. Okay, so nutrition. Then we get to A, which is basically it's double, but very, very important. So big A, right in the middle. So the middle letter, and that is attitude. People say positive mental attitude, but it's not always appropriate, or it's not always realistic to be positive. Be constructive though, and being realistic in everything, and don't see it as worse than it is. See it as what it is. Don't let your mind twist it or distort it or anything like that. So having the attitude, having a growth mindset, if you like, and being ready for that. And then the second part of the A is attraction, and of course, as they say in the law of attraction, and when we manifest, is what you think about and the way that you behave comes about. So really important that you focus your attention in the right places, okay? And you do it consistently, and you do it with intention, okay? And be okay sometimes when it doesn't go to plan. So attraction is really important, and generally speaking, the more good things you do, the more you'll attract good things into your life. The more negative that you do and think, the more negative you'll attract, and things like that, okay? And then M, really important one. This is almost something a management and prevention tool here. And that's maladaptive behaviours. So when things aren't going so well, the things that our reptilian brain tend to do as a survival instinct is to do the maladaptive behaviours, not sleep very well, get addicted to technology as a way of escaping what is happening. Drinking excessive amounts of alcohol, smoking lots, being sedentary, or in other words, not exercising, not being active. They're just a few things, okay? Those toxic kind of behaviours, but they're called maladaptive behaviours. So it's being able to be aware of them when they're happening, or when you're thinking about them, try and intercept them and try and change them. And that can be very difficult, which is where the discipline comes in, okay? Maladaptive behaviours, again, I talk about managing them, or if you can, preventing them, avoiding them altogether. But sometimes in order to be healthy, we need a little bit of a maladaptive behaviour. I mean, you could argue that sitting watching television every once in a while, just as a self-care strategy, you could argue that is maladaptive. But sometimes, these things are needed, as long as you don't do them too many times. There's a lady called Vicky Patterson, and she talks about having your days as 1, 2, 3s, and 4s. Like, ones being like, a ultra high performer, and 4, for instance, being the days where you don't do anything, you just relax, literally. But that can be very difficult for people, especially in this day and age when you're just attracted to, or addicted even to technology, certainly the phone or the television. All right, with YouTube and TikTok and all these other things that are going on. And now I've just heard on the radio about something called augmented reality, something that Apple are bringing out, as well as obviously what we have already is in virtual reality. So the world's becoming very high tech, and it can easily, with our survival instinct, we can easily go for what's the way of least resistance, if you like, the things that feel easier for us. So maladaptive behaviours are important to be aware of and try and prevent them or manage them. So integrate them still, but don't do as much of them, so that they don't get in your way of making sure you can manifest, the positive things in your life, if you will. Then you've got E, the second E, which is exercise, and obviously, basically, you don't have to do exercise every day. I mean, it's ideal if you can, but generally speaking, like the Centre of Disease Control is, they say that, or even the NHS, or here in England, if you can try and get at least 150 minutes of exercise or physical activity in your week, okay, that is a good rule of thumb. Even if that means you don't do exercise or physical activity some days and then you do them in other days, stacking it up, because sometimes if we are too obsessed with trying to do it every day, sometimes it can become a bit of a barrier for us. And of course, with time and all these other distractions, it can be very difficult. And then the maladaptive behaviours kind of set in, which is why I talk about managing them or preventing them. But yeah, exercise, as I said, last thing I'll say on that again, reminder, if you can just between Monday and Sunday make sure that you hit your minimum of 150 minutes of exercise every week, that would be fantastic. What forms of exercise? I mean, a lot of people go to the gym, but you don't always have to go to the gym. It could be going for a walk, okay, brisk, like, walk with a dog, if you will. It could be cycling, okay. It could be swimming. It could be gardening, even, and of course, physical activity is in just doing the chores and whatnot, and dancing around the house or whatever it may be. Dancing's a great form of it. Many ways you can dance. 1 step, 2 step. There's all sorts of things, but again, just being active. I did a degree in health-related exercise and fitness, and that's what this is all about. It was all about the trends in obesity and the health conditions that we end up with, and how to prevent them. Okay, so very, very important. So exercise is key. Releasing endorphins and then just balancing out those neurotransmitters that are important. Your oxytocin, endorphins, serotonin, and then obviously your dopamine, which is obviously something, a reward chemical, but also a movement chemical as well. And endorphins, they do argue in science that sometimes you have to get to a certain intensity to release enough endorphins to make any difference. Like, that's why they say high intensity training can be very good HIIT. Sometimes it's better to do 10 minutes of HIIT training or 5 minutes of HIIT training, although 5 minutes is barely scraping the surface. And we used to do this at Everlast gyms. There used to be like a 15 to 20 minute HIIT training, and tell you what, you'd worked out, but it stresses the body. It's a bit like cold exposure. Sort of same thing, same principle. Getting that heart rate up, that's the important thing with exercise. Get your heart rate up for a minimum of 5 minutes, if not 10-15 minutes. Do that daily and you're on your way. And then finally, radiance, which is the last letter in dreamer. Radiance, shining a little bit, every once in a while. We're doing, me and my friend Lexi Whiteside, we are currently, we've been talking about it for a while actually. She's currently in Australia and I'm currently here in the UK, and we've been talking about doing this podcast that I had come up with, because that's what I do, come up with ideas, quite good ones really. That's why I call myself a bit of an entrepreneur. But Suffer, Strive and Shine podcast, it's a podcast series that we're going to be working on, so that's going to be coming up hopefully this year for sure, for certain. And that is just looking at, obviously there is a suffering side, managing that, living with it, etc. Suffering is unfortunately part of life, but it's having that positive relationship with it, and not trying to resist it all the time. And this is something you'll learn in the suffering side of the podcast. Then there's the striving side, where we try and dream, and we try and make things happen, and we try and work towards having a better life, etc. And making a difference and serving and stuff like that. And radiance is a bit of serving. Do what is your purpose, what gives you meaning, but also make sure you're looking after yourself. You are shining the light on you a little bit, not as in an egotistical way, but shining the light on yourself a little bit to make sure that you're getting the self-care and you're getting the enrichment and you're getting all the qualities that all the things that you need to make sure that you're optimizing your daily personal and professional performance, if you like, in making the effective decisions that you need to along the way. So that's really, really important. But then obviously being able to shine the light on other people, taking that spotlight away from yourself. And we talk about that in the podcast with the shining side. We don't want to shine all the time. We want to sit in the striving element, like a thriving state. But thriving is a bit of shining. But it's a case of, again, I go back to what I talk about in my leadership program. We don't want to be in a place where our ego's in control, and we want to, we need that external validation, and we need that feel-good factor. And it's getting a good balance and integrating all three, a bit of suffering, a bit of striving, a bit of shining. But again, in this element, I'm talking about radiance, and we all should feel radiance within us. But that comes from a lot of behaviours, thinking behaviour or cognition. Our body getting in a state, generating that energy, spiritually as well. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. So just to remind you, we've got discipline, being responsible, taking ownership, basically. We have energy management. Okay, we have attitude and attraction. We have maladaptive behaviours, management and prevention. We have E, the second E here, which is exercise. And we have R, which is radiance. There will be an ebook out on that later on in the year that you can purchase from me, or you can have it as part of one-to-ones with me as well as a free bit of a freebie. And if you want any help with any of this, then come and see me. A virtual call, a phone call, or if you're local, a face-to-face. I am obsessed with these sort of things, and I live for health, I live for fitness, I live for football, I live for high performance, I live for leadership, and I live for careers. And of course, as I said to you, if you get to the end of this video, starting today, apprenticeships for all, okay, is the theme. But the theme for the week is skills for life, which is the last pillar in our Beyond Greatness guide, okay. Again, the last pillar. Skills for life, they're really, really important. But between now and Sunday is the event, and I've posted loads of websites that you can explore and discover and things like that. Of course, if you're 16 or above and you're about to leave school, for instance, and you want those options, and you're more of a practical learner, and you want to save money and you want to earn while you learn, sort of thing, I've worked in the apprenticeship side of things in the past as a careers advisor as well. So I've got that knowledge and that experience. So if you do need help with that, come and see me. But as I said, between now and Sunday, it's National Apprenticeship Week. It's the biggest apprenticeship week on the calendar for the year. And then, of course, in March, it's National Careers Week as well. So, yeah, do visit the page, my page. Do explore the website. And if you do want any further help or further support, should I say, I'm only a message away. And my number internationally is +44 7460 743 788. If you are in the UK, 7460 743 788. I'm Matthew Robinson. Okay, MR Coaching and Consultancy here. Have a wonderful week. Look after yourselves, and hopefully won't be long till my next video. Take care, eh? Bye bye.